I met someone who fundamentally changed the way I see the world. He fundamentally changed the way I operate in the world. His name is Simon Sinek, and some of you may have heard about it. He's an author and a speaker, and he's really changed the way I think about the world. And he's really helped us answer this question of, what do all great entrepreneurs, what do all great leaders, what do all great companies have in common? Now, I know Mike asked before, how many of you are starting businesses? Just raise your hand. Starting businesses, have businesses, new ventures, projects, great. You know, one of your biggest fears must be, am I gonna make it? You know, John said before, no, Peter said before, you signed that $50,000 check and you weren't sure, like, where was this money gonna go? You know, that's one of the biggest fears of startups. Am I going to survive? Am I going to make it? What I want to do is answer a question about what could increase the chances that you would be successful as an entrepreneur? You know, what do all great entrepreneurs have in common? Is it drive? Is it passion? Is it luck? Is it a great idea? Is it vision? Is it an amazing partnership? Is it connections? Is it investors? Now, I know we've heard from a few speakers and entrepreneurs today, and we're going to hear from more the rest of the evening. But what I want to do is identify, what do all these entrepreneurs have in common? Because the person that I met, Simon Sinek, who changed my life 5 years ago at a conference, he had made a discovery, and he was sharing that discovery. This discovery was a pattern. The pattern of, what do all successful companies, successful entrepreneurs, the ones that endure, the ones that make it, the ones that get out of the year 1, year 2, year 3, what do they all have in common? And it turns out that they all think, act, and communicate in pretty much the same way. There's a pattern to it. So this discovery, he called it the golden circle. All successful organizations, all successful entrepreneurs think, act, and communicate in the same way. It just so happens that it's the exact opposite of everybody else. This discovery is called the golden circle. Let me illustrate. This is as high-tech as it gets, right? I understand. I'll define the terms for you. Every single organization, every single person in this room, every single business, every single entrepreneur knows what they do. These are the products that you sell. These are the services that you provide. Everybody knows that. It's clear, absolutely. Some organizations, some entrepreneurs, some individuals know how they do what they do. And by how, I mean, what differentiates you in the marketplace? What makes you special? What's your unique selling proposition? What makes you special? What makes you different? What you think makes you unique from your competitors in the marketplace? But very few organizations, very few entrepreneurs know why they do and can articulate why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean make a profit. Profit is a result, it's a consequence of what you do. By why, I mean, what's your cause? What's your purpose? What's your belief? What's the meaning behind what you're doing? What's your contribution? It answers the question why your company or organization exists. It answers the question, why do you wake up in the morning and why should anybody care? Now, as a result, most organizations, most companies, most individuals go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. When we communicate with our investors, when we communicate with potential customers, when we communicate with partners and potential employees, we talk about what we do, we talk about how we do it, what makes us special or different, and then somehow we expect people to support us. We expect people to invest with us. We expect people to change their behavior. But it turns out that's really the most ineffective way, because the great leaders, the great entrepreneurs, the great businesses actually do something quite different. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use Apple because everyone gets it. There's probably 50% of you have iPhones here and tablets and other products, and everyone gets Apple. So I'm going to use Apple as an example. If Apple were like everybody else, their marketing, their communication would sound something like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, thoughtfully engineered, and easy to use. Want to buy one? Meh, it's not inspiring. And that's what we do. We expect people to vote for us. We expect people to support us. We expect people to want to work with us. We expect people to invest with us. We say, here's our new, food delivery service. We've got the best ingredients and we've got all this stuff, and then come do business with us. Here's our new mobile app. We've got, the amazing features and the best algorithms and the finest engineers working for us. Invest in our company. Here's our new gym. We've got the best equipment. We've got the finest trainers, and we've got the longest opening hours. Join our gym. Problem is, it doesn't inspire. It doesn't influence. But the best organizations, the best entrepreneurs, the best companies actually reverse the order. Instead of going from the outside in, they go from the inside out. So this is what a marketing message from Apple actually sounds like. All they've done is start from the inside out. What they sound like is something like this. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. Everything we do, we believe in thinking different and empowering the individual. We make products that are beautifully designed, thoughtfully engineered, and easy to use. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? It feels different. It sounds different, doesn't it? I remember the first time I heard Simon talk about this, I got goosebumps. Because what's happening now is he's talking to that part of the brain that controls decision-making, directly to that part of the brain that controls decision-making and behavior. And all I've done is reverse the order. Nothing has changed besides the order. And what that proves is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. I'll repeat that. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And the point of being in business is not to do business with everyone who needs what you have, but to do business with everyone who believes what you believe. So if you can articulate what you believe, really some interesting things happen. Now, this also explains why we're perfectly comfortable buying a whole set of products from Apple that are unrelated to computers. You think about, we were buying MP3 players and phones, right? And tablets, and our music. And soon we're going to be making payments from our phones, and maybe even watches. And yet Apple's just a computer company like everybody else. I mean, what differentiates Apple? Any other computer company is perfectly capable of the technological capacity to build all these products. In fact, if you think about it, do you remember Microsoft a few years ago, they came up with an MP3 player, it was called Zune. Do you remember the Zune? It was the best product in the category, widely considered to be the best technology. Nobody bought one. Colossal failure. Dell came out with MP3 players, if you remember this a few years ago. Nobody bought them. In fact, when you think about it, you're like, why would I buy an MP3 player from a computer company? And yet we did it every day for 10 years, all the time. Again, it just proves it's not, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The interesting thing about this is none of this is really an opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology. Not psychology, but biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, if you look at a cross-section of the human brain from the top down, you'll see that the brain has really 3 sections. And they correspond and correlate to the golden circle. The outermost layer is our newest brain, our neocortex, our Homo sapien brain. Our Homo sapien brain corresponds to the what level? This is the part of the brain that controls all rational and analytical thought and all language. The inner two sections of our brain, this is our limbic brain, which correspond to the how and the why. This is our limbic brain, our lizard brain, our older brain. This is the part of the brain that is responsible for all feelings like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all decision making, but has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of information. They can process all of those facts and figures and details and features and benefits that we love talking about. But it just doesn't drive behavior. But when we communicate from the inside out, when we reverse the order, now we're talking directly to that part of the brain that controls decision-making and drives behavior. And we allow people to rationalize their decisions with the tangible things that we say and we do. You see, the neocortex, our new brain, is always trying to make sense of the world, which is why every person in this room, you think you're a rational person, but the evidence is abundantly clear. Emotions play a huge impact, a huge role in how we make decisions. It's have you ever had that experience where you show someone, you have an argument, you have all the details, you have everything all lined up, it's all perfect and rational, and the person says to you, it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that word feel when we're making a decision? Think about gut decisions. Where do gut decisions come from? Saying, listen to your gut, follow your heart, listen to your soul. Well, I've got news for you. Those aren't other body parts making decisions. It's all happening in the limbic brain. The limbic brain that controls decision making, that is responsible for emotion and drives behavior, but has no capacity for language. Now, in order for all of this to work, in order for this to make sense, you need to have three things. Three things need to be true in order to harness the power of the golden circle. Three things. Because again, the point isn't to do business with everyone who needs what you have. That's such hard work. The point is to do business with people who believe what you believe. The point is to hire people. Mandy talked about we hired 50 people and they're worried. Are they going to treat our customers the way we would treat our customers? How do you hire the right employees? Someone during Mr. McCausland's presentation asked, how do you, what's the decision for strategic business alliances? How do you decide? Well, I think I have the answer. The way that you decide is by making sure that the partners and the employees and the people that you work with believe what you believe. Because if they believe what you believe, then they're going to have your back. That's where loyalty comes from. And when you have loyalty, just think about it. What's the difference between repeat business and loyalty? Repeat business is someone who's, I will do business with you again. But if it's more convenient to go across the street or to go to someone else, I will. But loyalty, someone will suffer an inconvenience. They will sacrifice to do business with you. They will give up something. They will forgive you the occasional mistake, and they will lower the stress level in your interactions. So our goal as entrepreneurs, our goal as leaders of companies, our goal as organizations is to find other people who believe what we believe. But in order to do that, you need these three things. The first is clarity of why. You need to know why you exist. Why do you do what you do? Can you articulate your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why do you wake up in the morning, and why should anybody care? Because when you do that, you will naturally attract other people to you who believe what you believe. And that's how we form tribes. That's how we form communities. When we're surrounded by people who believe what we believe, whether it's employees, whether it's strategic business partners, when we're surrounded by those people, we achieve remarkable things. So clarity of why is the first. The second is discipline of how. You must hold yourself accountable to your principles, how you operate. If you say you're an environmentalist and you drive around in a big SUV, gas guzzling, there's a disconnect. People are going to be like, and that's why we're so offended by these politicians and business leaders who say, oh, austerity measures, we need cutbacks, and then they're having $1,000 lunches and giving themselves raises and flying in private jets. We're so offended by that because of the disconnect. It's the disconnect that drives us crazy. And then the third thing that we need is consistency of what? Remember, we're in a tangible world. Your product matters. You don't have to be the best. Because remember, with that loyalty, because you're doing business with people who believe what you believe, you don't have to be the best. People will forgive you the occasional mistake, but you still have to have a consistent product. And when you have these three things, you're in alignment. This is the basis of the idea behind authenticity, right? Authenticity, when we're authentic, when we say and do what we believe, that's the basis of authenticity. Everything we say, everything we do, we believe. And when you do that, you will naturally attract people who believe what you believe. And, you know, my biggest fear right now is some of you are thinking, yeah, this is all kumbaya. This is all, you got to be kidding. This is so soft. But you know what? The results actually take care of themselves. And the proof is out there. Simon Sinek's team, which I'm privileged to be a part of right now, we get 50 calls a week from people who are trying to implement this why-based thinking. There are people in this room here today who I know who have implemented this why-based thinking. There's example after example. We are hungry for this kind of world. Think about someone, some of you may have heard of Chris Guillebeau. He wrote the $100 Startup. He has a festival, not a festival, he has a conference called the World Domination Summit. What's his why? His why is how to live a remarkable life in an ordinary world. And he had a conference 3 years ago that attracted, 75 people. It was organized in his living room. This summer, he will have 5,000 people descend on Portland. There are no sponsors for this conference. It is still all volunteer run. Why? Because he is talking and communicating to people who believe what he believes. When you start with why, when you harness the power of why, truly remarkable things start to happen. And my challenge for everyone here today, I know I need to wrap up. My challenge for everyone here today is, as you go to dinner, you know, what usually happens at a networking event, which this is a quasi-networking event? Usually go and introduce yourself to people, and hopefully you will. And what's the first question you usually ask?
What do you do?
What do you do? And so I challenge every single person in this room, add one question to that conversation. Ask people, why do you do what you do? And then you'll start to see, wow, you're interested in connecting with other people. That's what I'm interested in too. And then tribes start to form, communities start to form. Do not ever underestimate the human being's desire, strongest desire to belong. Let me just ask you a quick question. Many of you are from Montreal, right? Are you friends with every single person in Montreal? No, that's a silly question. You're not friends with everyone. But if you find yourself traveling in Western Canada, let's say you're out in Calgary, and you hear someone talking about the Montreal Canadiens, or they're talking about poutine, or you hear a French accent, what do you say? Oh my God, are you from Montreal? Wow. And they're like, oh, I'm from Laval. Oh, I live in NDG. Oh my God, we should go get a drink. Like, it's like we're best friends. And then if you're traveling, let's say you're down south. Let's say you're in the Caribbean, or you're down south somewhere, you're on holiday, and you hear a French accent, or you hear someone talking about the Montreal Canadiens or poutine. I'm like, oh my God, are you from Montreal? Like, I'm also from, oh, you're from Saskatoon? I'm from Montreal. Like, it's like your instant best friend, instant best friends. Harness the power of why. You start with why, and you have the clarity, the discipline, and the consistency. Really, truly remarkable things start to happen. I believe in a world where people wake up in the morning excited to go to work and feel valued, and then leave at the end of the day with a sense of fulfillment, with a sense that they've contributed to something larger than themselves. I believe in that world. I share experiences and ideas with people so that they can do their best work. I believe that alone we're pretty darn useless. But together, when we find and surround ourselves with people who believe what we believe, we can achieve truly remarkable things.